I'll step back here and make sure I don't actually fall back into my pool. Hey, this is Bernie Borges of Social Business Engine, and welcome to episode 5. Hey, Carrie, 411. Episode 5 of Poolside Sales Chat. So first, a couple of disclaimers here. If my camera falls apart, it's because I've got it rigged. You can't see what's below this camera, but I've got it rigged, and it's kind of like teetering on a little toothpick setup here. So I'm nervous that it may just fall down while I'm in the middle of this. And so if my phone doesn't actually crack and like break, I'll just pick it up and I'll just hold it. Secondly, as always, this is Poolside Sales Chat. These are the natural elements. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Palm Harbor, Florida, which is a suburb of Tampa. And so in addition to the birds chirping, I've got my dog over here, and right now he's quiet, but I can't guarantee that he's going to be quiet. Hey, Antonio. So, hey guys. All right, so here's what I want to talk about today on episode 5 of Poolside Sales Chat. This is all about how the B2B sales professional can prepare for a sales call, right? So, first of all, whenever you've got an appointment, celebrate that, even though you haven't won the deal. And hey, Katyusha, I'm not sure that I pronounced your name. Hey, Bill, thanks for joining. So I don't know if if you can celebrate so much that you've won the deal, because hey, you haven't won the deal yet, right? But hey, you've got the appointment, and consider how hard it is to get the appointment. 75% of B2B prospects are going to do research on social channels, on products and services. 70% of B2B buyers are unwilling to even talk to a professional salesperson, a vendor, before they've completed their online research. So the fact that you have an appointment, hey, celebrate that, because that means that you've kind of passed through those hurdles, passed through those gates, okay? So how do you prepare for a sales call, a B2B sales call? Well, my battery's low, so let's hope we make it through here. So first of all, you're going to do some research, all right? You know that, right? But where I want you to start is not on LinkedIn. No, I want you to start on Google. First, do a Google search on the individual that you're going to meet with. And the reason I like to start there is that I might learn something about this person that I might not otherwise learn about them on LinkedIn. Some people don't fill out their profile all that well on LinkedIn, and sometimes I think that's intentional, by the way. But by doing a Google search, I might discover things like articles written either about them or that they've participated in, maybe some speaking engagements or research that they've done, or awards, achievements, boards they sit on, charity work. I might discover some things on Google by doing a Google search that I might not necessarily discover on LinkedIn. So by learning about that can give me some insight into that person that can help me prepare for this meeting, for my first meeting with this person. Okay, now the second type of research that I want you to do is on social media. And now here's where you actually can go to LinkedIn, and I recommend that you go to LinkedIn. And there, where I'm specifically looking for is, and actually, Carrie points out a group here, and that's a physical group, but I'm going to look at the groups that this person belongs to. I'm going to look at maybe where they went to school. Sometimes that's a good topic of conversation. I'm going to look to see what mutual connections we have. And you know what? If we have mutual connections, I will probably reach out to one or two of them, and I will ask, hey, tell me about this person. What makes them tick? What are the things that are important to them? What do you know about their business practices, et cetera, to gain more insight into them, right? And these are things that I can use in my conversation with them. So LinkedIn is kind of an obvious one, right? But the next one that I'm going to recommend is that you actually check them out on other social media channels, specifically Facebook. Now, hear me out on that, okay? Because I know that for some people that's going to creep them out. But here's where I'm going with this. If you look people up on Facebook, if they're public, if they're accessible, because not everyone's going to be accessible on Facebook. But if they are, what you might learn are some things about their hobbies, their interests, where they've traveled, maybe about their family, maybe about their kids or grandkids. Now look, you're not going to go into this meeting and say, hey, I saw that you were hanging out with your grandkids this past weekend, in Lake Tahoe, California. I mean, you're not going to do that. That's just common sense. But let's say you discover that this person's a boater, right? In the context of some, human conversation on the front end, you can ask the question, hey, you live here in Florida or you live in California, wherever you may live, it's a boating community. Are you into boating? Well, you kind of know the answer to that already, right? In this scenario, you know that they're into boating. So maybe that can spark a conversation that can just help humanize and build some personal rapport, right? Okay, so again, you're not gonna do this in an unethical way. You're gonna do this in a very ethical way. You're gonna ask questions that you kind of know the answer to because you've done your research either on Facebook as well as other channels. So what about the B2B prospective buyer that you're gonna go meet with that has no digital presence? How do you do the research there? They're not on LinkedIn, or even if they are, they really don't tell you anything about them. They're not on Twitter. And when you Google them, either their name is so common that you can't find them, or you just can't find anything at all. So you can't find anything about this person. In that scenario, make sure you know everything about the competition, more than this person. Research the competition so much that you actually know more about the competition than they do. Now, maybe that's not entirely possible, but you get the point. If you walk into that meeting and you know a lot about the competition, and maybe it's not the competition, maybe it's some other issue that you've got a little bit of insight that is important to this person, do your research on that issue and walk into this meeting knowing as much as you can about that issue. You may not know a lot about them because they don't have a digital footprint, right? But if you can walk in knowing something about a really hot topic for them, something that's going on in the industry, maybe there was an industry conference recently and you know that this person, even if they weren't there, they're in the know because it's in the industry. So talk about what went on at that conference. Talk about the speakers at that conference. Talk about the hottest, news, especially if there's recent news. Talk about that stuff in a really relevant way and just see if that strikes a chord. So just to kind of sum things up here, to prepare for a B2B sales call, do your research, try to find a common ground on what you may know about this person, try to find maybe some common connections, some common hobbies, that kind of thing. Learn what you can about them, and then don't lead with that, but look for an opportunity by asking the right questions that can actually lead some conversation. And look, it's not going to win the deal for you. However, if you're offering and your competitor's offering are really, really, really close to each other in fees and speeds and price and all those other things being equal, well, if you can build some personal rapport and some credibility, that might put you over the edge, because in the end, the old cliche, I didn't invent this cliche, but in the end, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So become someone that your B2B prospective customer knows, likes, and trusts. All right, well, that is it for episode 5 of Poolside Sales Chat. My camera setup did not fall down. I'm really thrilled about that. Hey, for more on this, make sure that you check out my podcast, Social Business Engine. We've got a blog over at socialbusinessengine.com where we feature case studies and more on this topic. And hey, if you want to contribute to that blog because you've got some expertise on this topic, then hit me up at Bernie Borges on Twitter and pitch me on that, because I'd love to hear about it. All right, see you next week for episode 6 of Poolside Sales Chat. See ya.